Hi, my name's Kayleigh Kennedy. I'm a business and mindset coach, and I'm about to be on the Online Prosperity Show. And tune in because you are going to be inspired. You are going to really see that you're limitless and that you can overcome any obstacles that may have come your way or may come your way.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we have a truly inspiring guest who embodies the spirit of resilience, determination, and limitless potential. Now, Kayleigh, how are you doing today?
I am a fantastic, Prosper. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here.
Well, absolutely. The pleasure is all mine. I've heard a lot about you from previous guests, and I can't wait to hear your side of the story. Now, for those that are wondering why we've got Kelly on the show today, I actually had to pull her out of her, reel that she was doing on Instagram, and I was like, "Hey, it's about time." See, that's the issue that happens when you're working in different time zones, but life has got to happen. And the reason why we brought her in today is because Kelly is a powerhouse behind Limitless Coaching, a mindset coach who's actually dedicated her career to helping entrepreneurs break free from their own limitations and unlock their full potential. And not only is she just showcasing this, she has actually built a six-figure coaching business in just 3 years. And she's here to show us the blueprint. And she actually did this while navigating incredible challenges of being a new mom and also supporting her son's battle with cancer. And I think her story is one of triumph, adventure, and a profound personal growth. And I'm in awe of what she has done and who she's becoming. So I'm thrilled to have her here on the show today. And I can't wait to dive in and get to know a little bit more about Kayleigh. Now, Kayleigh, you can notice I'm a little bit starstruck here, and I'm already mincing my words. Maybe you can start by sharing a little bit about your journey so far and how you actually got into mindset coaching.
Absolutely. So 5 years ago, I was pregnant with my son. He'll be 5 on Halloween this year, 2024. Halloween baby, I manifested that because he was 3 weeks early. That's a different story. But I was working in a corporate environment. I had gone back to school. I bartended for 10 years. I went back to school to get a quote unquote real job, as people were telling me to do. So I traded nights for, the 9 to 5. And when I got into that environment, it was not what I expected. And I was very unfulfilled. There was more months than money. I knew deep down I was meant for something more. I didn't know what that was. So I was very, very lost. Anxiety was at its height. It was, I feel like it was like there were good things in my life, but I was just lost. I didn't know where I wanted to go. And when I was pregnant with my son, I was thinking about what my life would look like when I had him. And I didn't want to be at the job that I was at anymore. I didn't want to be commuting an hour each way every day to a job that I didn't really love, that didn't really pay the bills, that didn't fulfill me, that, ticked off all of the boxes that I didn't really want. So I actually came across a mindset coach. People that I know had experienced amazing results working with this woman. And I was kind of at the point in my life where it's like, what do I have to lose? So couple months before my son was born, before I went on maternity leave, I made an investment in myself, and that investment changed the direction of my life. So this was end of 2019, and we all know what happened in 2020, right? Do you remember, or are you trying to block that one out too? I loved it. I thrived, but I really realized during COVID as a new mom how much I'd changed, because I was actually, for the first time in my life, I loved being by myself with myself and my own thoughts. And that is something that I avoided. I filled every single gap of time with something because I didn't really know myself, nor did I really like myself. I had very low confidence. Um, I wasn't in a really great place inside. But then COVID happened and I was forced to, not be around people and really do the introspection. And I'd been doing the mindset work for about 6 months at this time. And I really noticed how much I had changed. And other people had started noticing. They're like, why aren't you like anxious? Why aren't you freaking out right now? Why are you calm? Because that was not how I used to be. And I really realized how powerful this mindset work is. And that's when I started kind of just getting the ideas of what could I do with this? Um, how can I help more people with this? So that was really what sparked the idea. I ended up joining that coach's team beginning of 2021. And I ended up then moving to another company where I ended up coaching through for about 2.5 years, which was a sales and mindset company. And it was amazing. Like it really just because I kept doing the inner work and I was serving other people and I was seeing other people go after their goals and their dreams while I was doing that for myself, changing my family's life, the trajectory of my family's life. And then at the beginning of this year, I realized that I'd outgrown the company that I had been working with, and it was my time to shine. It was my time to be on stage and sharing my story. I know I have a very impactful story. I can inspire and empower a lot of people. And I just felt called to do that. So I left a whole bunch of clients behind and a multi-million-dollar company, and started my own coaching business. And it's been absolutely amazing. We're 6 months old now, and it's going incredible.
Absolutely. And congratulations on these leaps. I mean, first of all, it's not easy, unshackling yourself from the, for lack of a better word, shackles of what the mindset can do for you. Now, let's just go back a little bit. You said you manifested a Halloween baby. Why this particular time?
So my son was actually breech. He was both foot down breech, and my midwives had booked us an appointment, which happened to be on Halloween, to see if we could flip him. So that was 3 weeks before he was born. And I was like, no, I want to have a baby. I want to have the baby today. Like Halloween, I'm a big Halloween fan. Like Halloween, my husband and I have always gone all out, and now we do as a family. And I was like, no, I'm going to have the baby today. And they're like, no, it's just a procedure. And if, then you're going to send home. I was like, no, 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 I don't think that's what's going to happen. So I had the bags packed. My mom, who's in healthcare, didn't believe me either. The bags were packed. They were in the car. We didn't bring them in the hospital. And there was something where it wasn't an emergency C-section, but it was, there's a couple readings that are a little bit, off. Since you're here and prep for surgery, why don't we do you want to have a baby today? And I was like, yep, go grab the bags from the car. Now, here's my second manifestation story. I didn't find out the sex of either of my babies. So I now have two, my daughters, 2.5, almost 2.5. And when I was pregnant with her, I always called her because I always envisioned having a boy and a girl. And I always called her. I always referred to her as her when she was in my belly. And people would ask, oh, so it's a girl? I was like, yes and no. I do, but nobody told me it is. And yeah, I had my daughter. And I say, well, I only ever saw her accepted having a daughter. So I manifested that. And people will come to me and say, well, that's not how it works. And I say, how do you know?
Absolutely. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
She's almost a three-nager. I'm
Yeah.
just
She was when she was one. She is a spirited little girl, keeps us on our toes. Yeah.
oh, fantastic. You got to enjoy this whole process. Now,
Yeah.
what
Oh, I
was
have a quick visitor. Hey buddy, what's up? I love you too, baby. Okay. This is my son's going to bed. There you go.
that's
I'm
not
recording a podcast right now, honey. Okay. Can you go to bed with that? I love you. Okay, sleep well. See you in the morning.
that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Fantastic. Now, you jumped into the corporate world. What sort of jobs were you doing in this space?
I was working in marketing at an insurance company. So I can't really even say that with a lot of excitement, to be honest now. But I did, what's really interesting is I worked with a lot of people who loved what they were doing. And I think in every role, there are people who love what they're doing. And then there are people who don't love what they're doing, but they continue to do it because they don't see any other option. And I didn't want to be that second person. And I think there's people who love doing all of anything. Like I know there's this gas station that I go to, and he is the most joyful gas station attendant. He's just super, there's just people who just love what they're doing, or they at least appear like they love what they're doing. But then I think there's too many people who don't, and then they just feel stuck. And I just didn't want to be stuck. I just didn't want to, like, I envisioned my life working until I retired, climbing the corporate ladder, working X amount of hours, trading my family for, working around my family instead of family around my work. And that's just not what I wanted. And I get to use a lot of the tools that I learned in marketing, building my own business, that's for sure. But it wasn't for me. It wasn't the right fit. And I think I went from one thing to another most of my life. Bartending, going back to school. I worked in sports marketing when I was in school. I worked did market communications at a hospital. Like I've done a lot of different things. And I feel like I jumped around from one place to another because I never really figured out what I was meant to do, because I didn't really know myself. And it was the mindset work and the deep mindset work where you really get to know yourself. And I started to get to know myself, and I started to get to know what energized me and what took my energy and what really started to tap into that purpose. And that's the work that I do with my clients too. I start with, let's tap into your purpose. Like, what are you here to do? What lights you up? And do more of that. Because when you start to do the things that light you up, like you vibrate at a higher frequency, and then you manifest, and then you believe, and then you achieve. And it starts there. So it's that first step. And I needed help to figure that out, because we're not taught to do that on our own, unfortunately. And I want to change that. Like, I want to change that with my kids. I want to change that for the next generation.
Absolutely. Now, Kayleigh, you haven't left marketing insurance.
I haven't left marketing and insurance?
No, you haven't.
No.
Because obviously the real life insurance is where people pay money so that if bad things happen, then it's somebody else's fault. But now you're giving people the insurance that if they introspect and look into themselves, they will be there for themselves when they need that. And
That's beautiful.
it's just a different kind of insurance, but now you're doing it in a holistic sort of way. Because
the other thing too, my mentor is Bob Proctor. He was who that was the first program I did that got me into this work. So I still follow him, and my principles are all built off of what I've learned from him. And he always said, accountability is your insurance policy against failure. So I've built accountability into all of my mentorships as well. So there's another way.
Absolutely. Great stuff. And I quite like that, because obviously your skill set has now been transferable, but in a more meaningful way. Because obviously, if you look at what you're doing, you're literally giving people that peace of mind that the future is going to be okay, because they will be the ones driving into that future. And that's what insurance capitalizes on, peace of mind, that if something happens to your car, somebody will drive into your driveway with a new car, which you've literally paid for, but nobody tells you that. Anyway, I just thought you would realize that part there, and it's quite interesting. Now, you moved on, and obviously 2020 happened. It happened to the best of us, and as you say, you literally thrived in that space. But also, not only did you thrive, but you met yourself. What was that like? Because your life before would have been filled with, marketing departments, bars full of people that are just empty souls going hopelessly nowhere. If they did, they'll be in their home doing greater things to ensure their future. But obviously, you would have enjoyed being amongst that energy. But
Mm.
COVID happened, and then you stayed put. What was that like for you?
You know, prior to finding myself, I defined myself based on what I thought other people's opinions were of me.
Mm.
So really finding myself and starting to really love myself and love who I was allowed me to stop caring what other people thought, or even it's not even what other people thought, what I thought other people thought, because I don't even know if that's what they thought of me. I created all of those stories. So what it did was it allowed me to shed those layers of what I thought, how I thought I had to show up in this world. And it allowed me to create how I wanted to show up in this world and build an image of that. Because I think that's the missing piece, is that image. Like I was able to create who I wanted to be based on what I was learning, what lit me up, and step into that person and then stop, like build up my, I call it I don't give an F muscle. That's what I call it. Pardon my whatever, but it's really like learning how to just block other people's opinions so that I can step up and step into my limitless potential and start to like there's a saying, what is it? What you think of me is none of my business, right? Like, and I think that was that piece where I just stopped caring about that and started caring about things that I cared about, and also started caring about myself and treating myself better with the words that I said to myself. I used to beat myself up. I would say, I used to should all over myself. Oh, I should be doing this, or I should be here, or, it'd been a couple of years into the mindset work or even coaching, and I wasn't where I had wanted to be. But then actually this year I took into perspective, I was like, wait, actually I did achieve that. I just did it for someone else and not myself, building that business for someone else and not myself. But I stopped doing that. And I started just realizing that I could step into whoever I wanted to be. And the more I did that, the more I started to learn about who the true me is. And it was through actually taking action and actually stepping outside of my comfort zone and doing things and taking risks and getting very, very uncomfortable over and over. Like I used to be very uncomfortable doing recordings like this. And now I'm very confident speaking on camera and speaking in front of people. But I had to build that up. And it started with having a goal and a desire and a purpose that moved me through the discomfort and stopped caring what other people think. I don't even know that half my family really understands what I do, and I don't care because it's not for them, right?
Absolutely. You see, when it comes to family, I was just about to say you left a perfectly good job. It's like jumping off a perfectly good plane and jumping into the abyss,
Yeah.
but hopefully you had a parachute at this time, and so many people, you're right, don't understand it because society has built these safety nets around what is life supposed to be like, and there's method to their madness. Have you ever tried to eat a Kit Kat without breaking it first? It's even worse.
I don't know that I have, to be honest.
There's rules. There's rules
you
to
know
this.
you know what I say too, like, an old mentor of mine taught me this, and I say it all the time because it's so true. Suggestion might be one of the most powerful forces in the universe, because unless we're deciding where we want to go, we start accepting other people's suggestions for our life, for how we eat a Kit Kat bar. So someone else told us to do it that way, so we do it that way. The idea of, for me, when I was working at the bar, and then I kept hearing, and I don't even know if someone said it or if I was saying it to myself based on how I thought people's perceptions were. But I kept saying, oh, you should go get a real job with like a pension because that's what everyone wants, a pension and benefits and the 9 to 5 and the schedule and all of the things. But that wasn't what I wanted. That was what I thought other people wanted. So when I started to step into what I wanted, I was able to um I was able to like let go of those suggestions or what I thought people were suggesting and started to kind of stay in my own lane. Um, because that is the thing. We just all we're doing is we're walking around just spreading our own belief systems on each other. So and then we're doing the best that we can with what we have. We're doing the best that we can with our level of awareness. So um we just it's so easy for us to accept other people's suggestions or society suggestions or this is what you work until you're 65, you retire, go to school, get married, have kids, right? Like, and I did want to do that, so I did that, but I there's people who do that and they don't want to do that, and it's just starting to decide what you want for yourself, and it doesn't matter. It's like, well, why do you want that? It doesn't really matter. I want that, so who cares? Because I want it. That's
Absolutely.
it.
You
Right?
see, our brains are always seeking the path of least resistance, and what society offers is shortcuts, and they seemingly look like the next logical step. And the fact that society is full of these shortcuts and people that have actually done those parts, it's easy to see the success that they have achieved. Whereas, like you said, your family doesn't even know what you do and you don't even care, which means they're operating at a level where they will never see any of this happening and the successes that you are achieving. So they will never have a point of reference as
Mm-hmm.
to that there could be a better way. So fish do not see the water that they swim in, and neither can people see the air that they
Mm-hmm.
breathe. And you can tell from the way your life started changing because you met this mentor, you started working with people that were goal orientated and things like that, not people that were not souls that were just hovering in a bar just hoping somebody will pick them up and go home with them
I
something.
had to, I've actually had to physically carry people out of my bar that I worked at, like not, in that way, but like remove them from the bar. So I've been on both sides, but it's really interesting too, because you, you become aware of how powerful your environment is. So really like the first thing that I really became aware of when I started spending more time in environments with goal oriented people is the conversations are different and the goals are different, and you you can't undo awareness, but you also don't know what you don't know. So I remember like setting my first goal years ago and thinking it was this massive thing, and now with my perception and my perspective, it's that first goal is so small because that's the people I was spending time with had the smaller goals, and that's fine. If that's what they want, that's fine. But it's this whole, when you place yourself in environments with bigger thinkers or people who are doing bigger things, you can't help but do that. I had this awareness like not like 2 weeks ago, not even that long ago, where I've been in. So now I facilitate these environments, but even when I invested in my first coach or was working for other coaches, I was always on calls and always in environments where we're talking about goals and mindset and changing your self-image and changing your self-perception and getting out of your comfort zone and all of those things. So I've been on calls like that for 5 years, like weekly. Like I've been immersed in that environment, and I actually forgot that this isn't the normal. Like I realized I was like, oh right, like people don't like I forgot that this is not where 95% of people are spending their time. Like, because I'm so used to it. You almost, I have to remind myself, it's like, I need to educate people on why these environments are so important. Because it's
Mm,
like almost the Kayleigh pre being in a growth environment and Kayleigh post being in a growth environment. And the coaching and everything totally helps. But even like if you just get yourself in rooms with bigger thinkers, you can't help but to change.
absolutely. I mean, it's the same. Even as kids, if you start hanging around guys that wear jeans, you start wearing jeans just so you can fit in with that mob. And if they, wear big t-shirts or whatever it is, that's the style that you're going to be wearing. We literally, usually, average of the five people we spend the most time with. But speaking of environments, without any sort of point of reference or any sort of role models out there and things of that nature, I mean, your crossover had to have happened because you met someone that incited that, and now you're telling people that they should take personal responsibility for everything that they attract into their lives. I mean, some people might think, wait a minute, I have this sort of thing going on in my life. Is that my fault that that is happening? Now, how does this mindset sort of impact your, first of all, business growth and maybe your own personal life?
I love that question because really what this work has done is allowed me to accept certain things that are outside of my control and not really question, like, so let's take it back to almost 2 years ago when I heard the words, your son has cancer. Like, you know, just to throw a just to throw a wrench in life's plan. Well, that's not what I expected. But the truth is, the moment I heard those words, the moment we got those diagnoses, the truth is, it is what it is. And I get to choose how I show up and how I respond to this circumstance. Um, could I have spent time thinking of why I manifested that? Sure, but what's that going to serve? It's not going to serve anything because it is what it is. There's nothing at that moment in time. I can't go back in time. That's the one thing that I don't know. Maybe someone's figured it out, but how to go back in time. I can't go back in time. And if I did go back in time, am I still going to get that same circumstance in my life? So it's understanding that there are certain things that are outside of your control. It is what it is, but it's your choice how you move forward from that moment on. So for me, very, very challenging circumstance, which it's been almost 2 years. He's been in active treatment. It's just under 2 months till he rings the bell. So I've been watching my son go through cancer treatment, giving him chemotherapy every day, but choosing how I show up. And because of that, he shows up in a different way because of the environment. So he is he's 4.5. He goes to the hospital more than most people probably do in their entire life. And he walks in there with confidence and grace. And I'm constantly getting complimented on how wonderful of a patient he is. That's not a coincidence. That's environment. That's because my husband and I choose to deal with what is going on instead of burying it, and choose how we show up and choose to live in faith instead of living in fear. And you can take this story in any part of life. Faith and fear are both a choice. You don't have both at the same time. So even in negative circumstances in your life, you can choose how you want to see it. I was recently on a podcast actually speaking about cancer and talking about mindset from a cancer mom perspective. And one of the questions she asked me was, well, what do you do when you go down the rabbit hole? And I said, when I catch myself going down the rabbit hole, because I am human, but I can catch myself going down there, and then I choose a new thought process and I climb back up. And that's a choice that we all have, but we don't all know how to use it. And that's just self-awareness.
Absolutely. I mean, I really believe to whom much is given, much is required. And we were brought up to obviously pay attention whenever something is happening, because you're going to need to tell it one day. And I'm supposing there's lessons in this, and there's a message which, if you would be paying attention, and like you said, you're journaling and documenting all of this, I mean, not only would you have one day a good story to tell on the Online Prosperity Show, but I feel like there's just something there that you need to pay attention to. And whatever that
Yeah.
journey is, either it's healing or it's some sort of transparency that needs to come out of you in this whole process. And I'm glad you are there, and you're the person that can handle this and can talk about this. So good on
And
you
I'm
for.
very transparent about the struggles too. Like, I think it's important to talk about the struggles. I think vulnerability is one of our superpowers. And um, I see it a lot because I've worked with high level coaches where they almost mask that vulnerability and that authenticity. And I really feel like that is what connects me with people. And that is, I've achieved pretty incredible things while undergoing the most challenging times in my life. Why? Because of my mindset, because of the inner work that I've done. And I really truly believe that it's my mission to tell people that when you go and work on the inside, you will change what's happening on the outside. And you have full control over how you respond to anything that happens in your life if you choose to look at that way. So to really show people that it doesn't matter what's going on in your life, you have a choice and you can still step into your limitless potential even when X, Y, and Z is happening. It doesn't matter. It's your choice whether you succumb to your circumstances or you rise above them.
I'll say, but the little man is about to finish his treatment, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this is exciting stuff. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been visualizing him ring the bell for every day for almost 2 years.
Oh, this is
And it really is, I mean, it has not been an easy journey. It's not been easy. I've at the beginning, I believe my priorities were a little bit out of whack because of old belief systems, because of old programming. I had to heal relationships. I had to heal myself. I wasn't going deep. Like, and in my coaching, I talk about, like, we don't go surface level, we go deeper, because surface level, I feel like for the first couple months, I was only really dealing with what was going on at a surface level. And then because I was suppressing things, well, they express, and they express in ways that we cannot control. And I believe that all of these lessons that I've learned, especially in the first year, they've made me a better mom, a better wife, a better person, a better like self, and also a better coach. Like I know I'm a better coach than I was before this happened. And I know that I have a message to share, and I have a mission. Like, it's not even just a vision, it's a mission to change how people see themselves and see the world around them, and situations and circumstances. And we're planning a party for when he's done, which, and a lot of, now I've always visualized myself giving back, but I never had something that was so near and dear to my heart. So now I do a lot of charitable giving with different children's cancers. I'm an advocate for a lot of different children's cancer charities and support groups that have supported us. So we're throwing a party, and no gifts, but all of the money is going to go to the children's hospital that's helping us, and their oncology department. And I just see, having a huge impact, not only with entrepreneurs and in the coaching space, but also in the children's cancer community, and helping, maybe my story will help other parents move through that challenging time.
Kayleigh, I'm gonna say this with utmost love and respect. This whole episode legitimizes you, because any other coach, goes out on a weekend, walks over a couple of calls, and then on their way back home buys a computer, and then they set up a website and they call themselves a coach.
Yeah.
But you've had lived experience. You've gone through not just being a coach, not just being a speaker, an author, a community builder, but you've experienced being the person on the other side who's had to lift themselves up and also still have a family to run.
Yeah.
And this now becomes your origin story. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I received that. Thank you.
Absolutely, because before, yes, we were talking about marketing and insurance. Who can't do that?
Boring.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But you came through with this, and in 2 months, you can have a bigger story to tell.
Mhm.
And this is the time for you to really go deep, because you're gonna need that energy. All those stages, all those places, all those people you're gonna be pouring into. I
Yeah.
can't wait to see this unfold. How can people follow you? Because I think this is gonna be interesting.
It is. It is. And all of the things that you just talked about, I see them already. I'm there in my mind. So I know what's going to happen. The best place to follow me, I'm on Instagram at the Kayleigh Kennedy, or LinkedIn's a great place too, Kayleigh Kennedy. And I share all of the things that I have going on through my social media. So that's the perfect place to connect. And yeah, I hope that my story inspired other people to just go after the things that they want. But first, figure out what you want. Just figure out what you want, and know that just you wanting it is enough. And then go all in on that idea and see what happens. See where your life could be. Because 3 years ago, my life looked a lot different, and I'm so grateful every single day that I bet on myself.
Absolutely. I'm going to make sure those links are in the show notes so that people can actually see this story unfold. And for those that are going to be following through, buy yourself a pair of sunglasses or those eclipse glasses, because this is going to be so bright, it's going to hurt your eyes. And I just can't wait to see it unfold. So thank you for having gone through this, because I believe your life story and your experience have so much value now that you've gone through this than you were just a marketing insurance person. Yeah.
Yeah,
Were you the lady that wore the white dust coat in the insurance videos?
I wish. That would have been a much better story.
Absolutely. And you just said your life was different 3 years ago. I mean, you've backpacked through Europe when you were 21 years of age. You know what I mean? Did you even know your life would be like this?
No, I took a leave of absence from a bar to go backpacking for 6 months when I was 21 years old. And I came back and started working at that bar again. And I think it was the next year I actually met my husband, and there was lots of major shifts in that. He actually was the first person who really showed me my worth, because I couldn't see it for myself. And even that experience, the story is still unfolding, but that changed. It just took me a little bit longer to figure out what I was going to do with that.
And also, I mean, you keep speaking about this bartending days, people just getting
I know,
drunk.
yeah. So
You
I'm now 16 months sober.
you must have seen people at their worst in these
I've seen
spots.
people be at their worst, but I also that I there was a part of my life where I was that person, and I really, I have no regrets. I did what I did. That was the environment I was a part of, right? Oh, drinking, right? That was the environment that I'd placed myself in. Um, and when I really made the decision to stop drinking, um, I hadn't really been a big drinker, or like that hadn't been my life for a long time, but I felt like that decision was the thing that I needed to let go of that old me. Like and also like send her love. Like, she got me here in a messy way. But almost like accepting that part of me and letting go to step into my next level. And it was the easiest decision I think I've ever made in my life, which I also used to be the person who really enjoyed a glass of wine with with dinner. So it was but it again, it came down to, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? And it's not even just for me anymore, it's for my children too, which just deepens that purpose.
Absolutely. Now you see, Kayleigh, in life, I obviously believe we're here to leave, to learn, and to contribute. And I'm pretty sure in the 10 years bartending, the time you backpacked around Europe, you were leaving, what people say, living your best life at that particular time, knowing what you knew at that time. But you
Absolutely.
came back and you learned all the mindsets, everything else that needs to happen to shape you into the person that you are becoming. And you also learned the empathy of, like you said, being the C word mom, and that being the ultimate story that now propels you to be able to contribute in your fullest, because like I said, now you've got a story. Now you're legit. lived experience, everything else. Nobody can take that away from you. And while we're looking at it in this way, people are always looking for health, wealth, and relationships. When it comes to health, you can talk about the worst thing that could ever happen to anyone, which is what you went through with your son. When it comes to wealth, you can talk about how people were really killing themselves and trying to look cool, but that's not how you become wealthy. You've got 10 years experience of looking at that head on. And relationships, I saw you with your son. I saw you with the people that you are around. You got introduced to this show by genuine people that I would go and wash cars for. Those are the kind of relationships you've created. But my question now is, you've built a strong connection with all your clients, and you're often described as having amazing energy. Where does it all come from? Like I know you've been telling us, but
Coffee? No, just kidding.
going what
uh,
going through what you went through,
yeah.
how do you create such quick and lasting connections?
I'm connected to my purpose. I know what it is. I know what I'm here to do. I know who I am, and I have a goal. I have a beautiful goal that it's bigger than myself. So when I connect to that, it energizes me. My daughter didn't sleep. She does now. Uh, so she was born early 2021. Is that right? Early 2022. Sorry. She was born early 2022, February 2022. So I spent like a year not having a full night's sleep. And then my son was diagnosed 6 months after she was born. And I still showed up with this energy because I'm connected to something that's bigger than myself. And I look at it, and I don't really accept excuses from my clients for you got that from me, because I look at it. I actually recently did the math, and between 2022 and 2023, I closed almost $1.4 million of sales for someone else. And at the beginning of 2022, I had my daughter, and August 2022, my son was diagnosed with cancer. And 2023, we were navigating like the worst part of his cancer diagnosis and treatment while having a 1-year-old at home who's very spirited. The only way that you can get energy is to connecting to something that's higher than yourself. And the only way that you can do that is by connecting to yourself and your purpose and something that's bigger than you. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Maybe.
Mic drop, right?
Oh, absolutely. See, now the thing with the mics of these days, they're either sitting down or they're hanging in the air,
Yeah.
so you can't really mic
Yeah,
drop.
I
But
know.
that definitely was a mic drop. Now, just go through a little bit about your mindset coaching programs and masterminds. What can participants sort of expect to gain from these?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now I have 4 ways to work with me. I have my mastermind, which is a weekly virtual Zoom call where entrepreneurs connect. We meet for 90 minutes each week, and it really is. I do some coaching. I do mostly facilitating, and it's a place where entrepreneurs can connect and collaborate and come up with their next idea. Like I always say, you never know where your next $1 million idea is going to come from. So you start to really rely on other people's experience, expertise, resources. I've seen beautiful collaborations come out of that group. So that's my mastermind. I also have a 6-month mentorship, which I created a program. It's a 15-week program that I coach through a 6-month mentorship. And what that program is essentially the 15 tools that I use to completely change my life. So it is the program that's going to help you set goals, tap into your purpose, identify your limiting beliefs, and start to embody limitless beliefs. So really starting to shift that belief system on a subconscious level. So I work with people on 6 months because it's not long enough. You need to keep going into these ideas and go deep. I'm not interested in surface level change. I'm only interested in the deep level change. So I work with people where we go deeper into different topics, different ideas over that 6-month period of time. I also have a program that I just launched where I actually go into sales teams and I help sales teams with their goals and their motivation, and kind of more of an intro to mindset. Like, what role does mindset play in your results? And helping them connect with their goals so that they can have more motivation. Maybe tap into some of my energy so that they can achieve, achieve their personal goals while also moving to organizational goals. And I also have a 6-month one-on-one mentorship where I work with people in close proximity.
Absolutely. I'll definitely make sure those links are also in the show notes. You did say
Perfect.
you've got a link tree that people can climb, on the ladder to
Yes.
success.
Yeah.
So absolutely. And
Perfect.
congratulations for all you've done. I mean, you've taken us on a journey from where it all started and what it's looking like. And now, I just can't, it would be remiss for me not to ask this. I mean, you did represent to us a 21-year-old who was backpacking all over Europe and things of that nature. You see, when you're backpacking and you're traveling, you get to meet a lot of people. Let's just say 21-year-old Kayleigh stumbles upon a bar and there's, future Kayleigh in there who's just finished, being a bartender and being the insurance lady. And now this hot speaker who's just having a glass of water while waiting to go on stage, in the ballroom down the road or down the hallway. What sort of advice would you give this young woman knowing what you know now about life?
Trust yourself more. Don't be afraid.
Wow.
Just trust yourself
I think
and
I
believe
think
in you.
that's powerful in and of itself. I mean, it's a complete sentence. Trust yourself. Because so many people go through life looking at other people for clues and not looking at them inside. Because I was brought up to believe when you see an apple seed, there's no telling how many how many apples are in that seed.
Mm.
Because year after year, apples will be coming out of that one particular seed. And that's the same thing with people. I mean, you've been what's the name of this girl who's the insurance girl? What's her name? That's gonna be a new name.
I've lived many lives. I'm 36 years old and I've lived many lives already.
I'm gonna look for her. It's I
Oh,
think
Flo. Is it Flo?
yes,
Is that her
Flo.
name? Yeah. Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
Flo. Flo the insurance from Progressive Insurance, right? Flo the insurance lady. So yeah, you've been Flo and you've been the bartender and you've been the hiker, backpacker in Europe and you came around Halloween mom, cancer mom, and now you're the one speaking on the podium, and I think people will listen to that story. So thank you so much for that lived experience and for sharing your story on the Online Prosperity Show. But we've seen where you've been, what are you up to, and everything else. What can we expect? What's next? What can we be excited about moving forward?
Expect big things. Uh, Speaking on stages in front of thousands of people, um, a big team of people who are coaching and just making a big difference around the world and helping other entrepreneurs and business owners get out of their own way and earn more money so they can do better things with the world.
Absolutely. Now, Kayleigh, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. I mean, your journey is nothing short of inspiring, and I know our audience have gained a lot of wealth of insights and motivation from your story. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Prosper.
Absolutely. And for those that are watching, make sure you actually check out Kayleigh's mindset coaching programs and masterminds to unlock your limitless potential. I will be putting in the links in the show notes below. Now, if you actually enjoyed this episode, in the comments below, just type in the words limitless, limitless. Me and Kayleigh will be checking out who is actually going to start living their best life uninhibited by society and everything else that comes along with it. And if you really want to start becoming limitless, maybe start by rewatching this episode, because you might actually get a few nuggets that you might have missed out. Because I know it was entertaining, it's infotainment, but it's really designed to help you be, do, and have a happier existence. And if you already got what you needed from this show, share it with somebody who's going through stuff. Share it with somebody who's still not discovered their true north, their true potential. Maybe this is the one thing that they needed to hear, especially today. And while you're at it, if you find what we're doing here on the Online Prosperity Show amazing, I encourage you to subscribe. Until next time, thank you so much for joining us, and keep thriving. Bye for now.